Disaster, disaster. The chainsaw champion of Royal Oak, Michigan, BRUCE-O-RAMA. I got the movie wrong. I guess it's Army of Darkness. Which some people consider the greatest motion picture ever made. It also had the distinction of almost breaking up my marriage and almost got us kicked out of the film business because the movie died and killed the franchise for about 25 years. Yeah! I can do all those other things in the meantime. Yeah, happy memories. This movie, boy, there's a lot going on. When we were kids, we liked the movie The Vikings with Kirk Douglas. Yeah. Attacking castles, and the Vikings would throw axes at the drawbridge, and sometimes they get an arrow, but sometimes they get an axe in, and another guy would go up and he'd throw it, and then Kirk Douglas, he'd dive across and he'd crawl up the axes and then kick open the drawbridge. We thought that was the greatest movie ever. And it is the greatest movie ever, except this one tonight. So we wanted to kind of do something different. First Evil Dead, kind of grim, in a cabin, low budget. Second one's in a cabin, a little more money. People think it's a remake or a prequel of a sequel of a reboot. I'm going to tell you one thing. You know, people always go, why did Ash go back to the cabin with new friends for Evil Dead 2? You go, no, that's not what happened. But the problem is, the first 3 Evil Dead movies were made by 3 different companies, and neither company had the rights to the previous movie. So we hired new actors and then did a recap of Ash driving up. And people really thought he was dumb enough to go back to the cabin again. He is dumb enough to go back to the cabin, but that's not the point. Army of Darkness, same thing. This is another recap of that. Now with Bridget Fonda as Linda, for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact that she was kind of a fan. They're like, sure, why don't you be Linda? Because it doesn't seem to matter who plays Linda. The real way to do it is for you hackers out there, take all 3 movies, cut the recaps off. Cut the recap off at the beginning of Evil Dead 2, cut the recap off at the beginning of Army of Darkness. Ash gets hit by the evil entity at the end of Evil Dead 1, cut to Evil Dead 2, he's caught in the vortex, the movie begins, makes perfect sense, Yeah. End of Evil Dead 2, Ash gets sucked into the vortex, lands in the new dimension. So if you cut all that other crap, and just when he lands, that's Army of Darkness begins then. Makes perfect sense, You just get to watch me age over like 12 years, but it would put an end to all that Black Ant sequel, remake, all of that crap. So we thought, okay, let's go out of the box here a little bit. The first Evil Dead, people fainted, and the second Evil Dead is sort of kind of just a crazy movie. So we thought, let's do like an adventure. Let's send this guy on an adventure. And we went horribly over budget. We didn't know, horses and catapults and shooting in the desert at night for 6 weeks and things like that. We didn't really know how much a movie could get out of control until we did that movie. And now we know how much you can get out of control. It was a small scale. We went from 8 million to 11 million. And so in the studios, they're sweethearts to deal with, especially when you come for more money. They go, okay, yeah, we'll give you the extra $3 million, but you 3, Bruce, Rob, and Sam, you have to be responsible for the contingency for the movie if it goes over, which was $1 million. Which we spent, so we never got any of that money. So we put in about $300,000 into this movie that we never got back. I'm just gonna leave, man. And my wife and I, we talk about this all the time. My wife, Ida Giron, was the costume designer in this movie. She did a really great job. And we're both so delighted that people like this movie because it gave both of us PTSD, this movie. I mean, I really am like, oh man, I'm so glad you like that. Because, and people always ask, they go, well, those Evil Dead movies, those were fun to make, weren't they? No, actually, not at all. Not at all. But I feel that they were very satisfying creatively because Mr. Sam Raimi, you will see, he's kind of a crazy, mad genius, and I really like how he works. Some writers are very precious. They type in their little room, and they say the words, and you're not supposed to change them. And they get very uptight if you change their words. Sam, in between takes, he'll give you a whole new speech to say. While the camera's rolling, I'll say my take, and Sam will go, okay, now say this. And he'll spout a whole paragraph. So a lot of the original footage of Army of Darkness is me going, what? Okay. Blah, 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 blah. So he would hurl these until he was satisfied. Until he just kept changing it. And I like that, because he was going to do it till it got right. And I only really perform for him. If he laughs behind the monitor, even if I'm cutting my hand off with a chainsaw, he's gonna print that tape. You can tell by the way he used to call cut. If he goes, cut it, you're screwed. You're screwed. But if he goes, cut it now! Subtle difference maybe, but you knew that he liked it. Sam's a kooky guy. So there's a scene with M. Beth Davids, who went on to do Schindler's List. Because you know, horror movies is a great place to start and end your career. I avoided that. I just never left. So it works out fine. So there's a scene where Ash lets her hair down and kisses her. And so we can't find Sam. We're ready to go. Where's Sam? And we hear him giggling over in the corner. And he comes over and he goes, I know what you're going to say to her. I'm like, he's not supposed to say anything. He just kisses her. He goes, oh, no. No. You're going to say, give me some sugar, baby. Yeah. I go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And Sam gets pissed if you don't do what he says. He goes, you do it, mister. You do it, okay? Say it with passion. That dumb sentence does have power, though. It does. I was at an event. Guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, Bruce, I just want to say thanks for giving me some sugar, baby. I'm like, why? Why are you thanking me for that? He goes, well, I worked in China and had that line translated into Mandarin. And in Beijing, I went into a bar and used it on a Chinese chick and got laid. Words are powerful. Very powerful. Sam's way of getting performances is really weird, too. He would say things like this, and cut. Bruce, it was great for somebody else's movie. All right, here you go, Bruce. That was perfect if this was a mini-series. He's kind of a dick, but it's all right. So I'm ready to do, there's a lot of effects sequences in this. So Ash has two Ashes, two-headed Ash. You'll figure out when it happens. I'm strapped in, I can't move because we have to make sure I'm in a certain position so it'll match the other positions. Big complicated thing. I can't move anywhere because I'm all strapped in. And again, we can't find Sam. Where's Sam? I hear him giggling behind me now. He has a 2x4. And he's hitting me in the ankles. Are you ready, buddy? Are you ready, buddy? Are you ready for this? And I can't kick him in the face, otherwise I would have. Years later, he directs a movie called Quick and the Dead. Yeah, Russell Crowe, Leonardo DiCaprio, Gene Hackman, Sharon Stone. I go, you gonna hit Gene Hackman with a fucking 2x4? but Sam's a very clever boy. He's directing the first day with Gene Hackman in this movie. Gene Hackman is notoriously difficult. You got to kind of have your act together. So Sam says to Gene Hackman, okay, Gene, in this scene, you're going to come out of this doorway and signal to this guy over there who's going to start the gunfight. Come on over and sit down in this chair here. And there's a line that's not been written I want you to add. You lean over and ask this guy, what are the odds on the kid? And Gene Hackman goes, I'm not doing any of that. First day shooting, in front of everybody. Sam goes, that's okay. Like, you don't have to give the signal. I mean, you don't have to point, but he goes, the gunfights don't start unless you start the gunfight. I don't care how you start the gunfight. He goes, okay, I'll point to the guy, but I'm not going to sit in that chair. Sam goes, okay, you don't have to. But look at the rest of the town. They're all standing. All of the extras are standing. They are the peasants. You are the king of the town. That's why I had you seated. He goes, okay, I'll point to the guy. I'll sit in the chair, but I'm not going to whisper, what are the odds on the kid? Sam's like, good Christ already. Okay, you don't have to. But later in the movie, they're going to realize that your son is Leonardo DiCaprio, and you were actually kind of wondering, what are the odds on the kid? Maybe give your character a little more humanity. So I went to visit Sam on set. He popped in the dailies to show me. Gene Hackman comes out, points to the guy, sits in the chair, and whispers, what are the odds on the kid? The next day, he never had a single problem with Gene for the rest of the movie. Because Gene knew that he actually had real answers, not fake answers. Like, it'll be a cool shot, Gene, you look cool. He would have destroyed him if he took that approach. But he had real answers for actors' real problems. And Sam wasn't always known for that. Sam was always known for, stand on this mark because I want you here. And then you move over here because you're my little chess piece, okay, buddy? So he had to sort of refine his approach. But, you know, it shows he was growing as a director. And so, same movie, I come to visit Sam. One day, I'm shooting The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr., same time. While he's shooting his Western. We're both shooting Westerns. Me and my boyhood pal. I'm like, wow, this is cool. I had one day off. I go to Old Tucson to see Sam. I wanted to sit behind the monitor and just giggle. We were like, that's Crow. You got Sharon Stone. You got Sharon Stone. She was the hottest at that time. She was Sharon Stone. You know, she was a big movie star. And so I show up and Sam goes, come here. I need you. I go, what? Come on, man. I'm just here to see my pal. No, come here. Let's go. He grabs me, throws me in the wardrobe. Suit him up. I'm like, suit him up? Suit me up? As what? He goes, okay, make him look like he had money once, but now he doesn't. He's been sleeping in the street. Make him look like a filthy bum, like he's pissed himself. The guy. I'll be back in a few minutes. The wardrobe person, she was used to it by this point. She goes, oh boy, that's Sam. So next thing you know, I'm looking like a filthy old pimp, you know. Then he comes in and grabs me. Come on, we're going to makeup. Marches me into makeup. Greasy hair. I want a sore on his lip. I want grease. I want grime. This guy's got to look like trash. Fine. So then I'm this guy now. Right? Walk out onto the set. And there's an actor on set. His name is Pat Hingle. Pat Hingle, anybody who loves movies, he's been in 100 movies. Big, rotund guy, you know. Pat Hingle, I'm Pat Hingle. He played mayors and all that sort of stuff. He had been ragging on Sam for weeks. Because in the movie, his daughter gets sort of stolen into prostitution by this really slimy guy. And he goes, my character never did anything to defend my daughter. For weeks, he follows Sam around the set. It ain't right, Sam. It ain't right. My character would do something about that. Sam, finally, I show up. Sam goes, okay, Pat. So I show up. And Sam goes, you know, Pat, that great idea that you had about defending your daughter that you told me that you didn't, we never gave you that chance. Well, now we're gonna shoot that scene, Pat. This is the guy. He's like a stunt guy. Don't worry about this guy. He's gonna come up, and your daughter's in the scene. He's gonna come up to your daughter and go, "Hey, girl, let's do the devil's dance." And I look at Sam, he goes, you're gonna say it, don't start. I go, okay, fine. And so Sam goes, and once he does that, Pat, you see him do that, you come up behind him, you grab him behind the neck, you throw him off, you say, "Get away from my daughter," and then you kick him in the ass. And I mean, Pat, you kick him in the ass. Don't worry about this guy, he's a stunt guy. Forget about him. He's a day player, it's all right. He's a nobody. 8, 9 takes. Pat, it didn't really look like you meant it. Let's go again. And Pat is like, okay, yeah, he really wanted to do this right, because this was his stupid idea. Yeah. So 8, 9 takes, he does this, kicking me harder and harder each time. My neck is wrenched, my ass is sore. And so finally Sam goes, "Great, Pat, good job. And Pat Cunningham. Like the best day he ever had on set. Sam walks past me, he goes, "We're not even going to develop the negative." This is my boyhood friend. I first saw Sam in 8th grade. He was sitting in the middle of the hallway, dressed like Sherlock Holmes, playing with dolls. I mentioned that to him a few years later. He goes, no, I was making a movie. There was not a camera anywhere. He just liked to dress up as Sherlock Holmes and play with dolls. So I literally saw him and I was like, okay, let's go around that guy. I won't be seeing that guy again, I'll tell you that. So I go into typing class. How the hell did I wind up in typing class? Everybody, 30 people, they're all going, not even looking. I'm like, why are you even in this class if you know how to type? I go to my counselor, which I never went to. I didn't even know where the counseling office was. I didn't know you were even allowed to change classes. I go, can I drop typing? She goes, of course. What do you want? Looking through, radio speech. Cool, we can do like the morning announcements and be DJs and stuff. I'll take that. Sam is in the class. So that's where I meet him. He made little Super 8 movies in his neighborhood. I made it in mine. We sort of hit it off pretty quick. And we got into the physical pain and torment like almost immediately. He'd sit behind me. I go to answer a question. Sam takes his number 2 pencil and puts it in the back, just the tip in the back of my neck. And I'm like, oh, he's trying to challenge me. I see this little shit is going to try and make me break. It's not going to happen. So I started answering the question. As I was answering the question, Sam would prick the pencils further and further in my neck. I answered the question. Finally, I turned back around and he goes, I tried to help you. How do you react to that? You know, you just don't. But so, this movie is a culmination of really the Evil Dead movies. Ash kind of went from a milquetoast kind of guy. Part 2, he's like a Vietnam veteran. Part 3, he becomes a trash-talking, asshole American. I mean, this guy is rude. And it's like, this is Sam going, I mean, Ash comes riding back to the castle after, screwing up royally, which we'll find out. And they're congratulating him because they think he did something great. And he's going, yeah, thanks. The second guy is like, yeah. Third guy's like, get the fuck out of my face. He's not a hero at all, not a hero. And he lies to his girlfriend, she goes, what about the words that we shared? Oh, that's just pillow talk, baby. He's thinking some stupid Bob Hope line is going to get him out of it, But you gotta love it. I love playing that character. And I don't give a shit. You want to call me Ash for the rest of your life? Do it. I don't care. And April 21st, we're going to have some new characters, new setting, high-rise, downtown Los Angeles. Single mom is the protagonist. And it's when a family goes south. when moms go bad. It's sort of a little kid's worst nightmare ever. Where mom's not going to protect her anymore because mom's with the maggots now. I hope you see the movie because if you're actually an Evil Dead fan, it'll blow your shit up.
Oh yeah.
Because no one can ever make fun of our crappy special effects ever again. We spent so much money on these. No, never again. Never again. So before I depart, anyone have any questions about this movie or anything in general? You can get random if necessary. Yes?
What was the director's cut or the theatrical version?
The director's cut of the theatrical version. This is the theatrical version. This movie was cut down by probably 15 minutes. Mostly battle footage, the footage that put us over budget. It was cut out. And here's the problem that you have. If your plot devolves into skeletons blowing up through dynamite, there's only so many of those that you need. So we kind of picked the best ones that blew up. Next thing you know, the movie's 15 minutes shorter. Because it didn't test very well. The original ending, Ash miscounted the drops, because he's enough of an idiot to do that. Miscounted the drops, slept too long, woke up, the world has been destroyed. And he's cosmically screwed. Which is a completely appropriate ending for that movie. Because it would have set up the next movie, which was Ash leading like a Spartacus-style revolt against the robots. Like a Mad Max dystopian thing. Like the end of Ash vs. Evil Dead is really what it would be. Yeah, it would have been cool. So we test it, because what they do is when Hollywood companies make a movie, they test it for unemployed people at the mall. Hi, sir, I noticed you look very unemployed. Would you like to see a certain type of a horror movie this afternoon? Shit, I ain't got nothing else to do, let's do it. They show the movie, and then they have a focus group. They actually bring in a guy. Hello everyone, I'm Charles Dacquith. I'm here to ask you. So they get like 20 people to come in after the movie. And they go, could you tell us the part of the movie that you like the most? And there was a questionnaire that you filled out. So you put the part you liked the most and why, the part you hated the most and why, and then they would factor that in of what needed to be changed in your movie by 14 unemployed people in the valley. It's a great system. Very, very, very helpful. So the ending was deemed a downer. It was deemed a bummer ending, you know, for a horror movie. So shocking that you have a bummer ending. I slept too long. So it won't be that version, because the studio liked this version. But if you want to see a really long version, it's out there somewhere. It's the one that there's a cover of me, I look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, reaching up in the sky, because Dino De Laurentiis, who produced the movie, worked with Schwarzenegger, and he goes, if he makes me look like Schwarzenegger, we'll make money with this movie. People keep going, Bruce, have you ever been that ripped? I'm like, shut up, this was not my idea, okay? It had nothing to do with this. So, be that as it may, life continued on, and I'm glad that I think the movie aged fairly well. So, any other questions here? Yes. Yeah, sure.
What's your comfort movie?
Oh.
My comfort movie, The Sound of Music.
Oh.
I saw that movie in one of our childhood theaters, the Redwood Theater, that holds 1,200 people. It was from the 30s, 40s. It had the twinkling lights in the sky, it was painted like a sky, and these little stars would twinkle at night. Really cool, old theater. And they got a 70mm brand new print of that movie. And you go, oh, that cheeseball movie, blah, I saw it on TV, blah, 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 blah. That thing had these people spellbound for whatever, 2.5 hours. They would laugh and then shut up immediately because they didn't want to miss anything. And you could have removed all the music and it still would have worked, you know, perfectly. My favorite horror film is The Exorcist, the original Exorcist.
Woo!
Why? There's lots of reasons, lots of reasons. One, they hired adult actors who are actors. You know, Ellen Burstyn is probably the most serious actress on the planet when they made that movie. Let's have her play the mother, not a scream queen. Directed by, what's-his-face, Friedkin, who is at the top of his game. I met Linda Blair at conventions. She was a revelation, the work that she did. And Dick Smith was the makeup guru of his day, did really groundbreaking stuff. The cool thing about it is how they approached it. The parents were convinced there was just some mental problem with the kid. So they think it's a medical problem. So they're doing brain scans. This really creepy sequence where they're trying to find the answer to why this kid is acting like this, and they don't have the answer medically. So, okay, let's try a priest. You know, it looks like maybe the thing's possessed. Who do they get? A priest who's doubting his faith. They don't get some robo-priest from Rome to come in and wait. This guy's like, I don't know. Now you got a story. Now you got a story. You know, it's like Die Hard, the original Die Hard. I said to a well-known Hollywood writer, I said, why did he have to be a cop in that movie? Why couldn't he have been an accountant hiding in the air vent? And he looked at me, he goes, then how would he win?
Exactly.
Oh my God, you'd have to write that, wouldn't you? Oh my God, maybe he's smart. You ever thought of that? I'm not really sure how we got on that subject. Yes. Sure.
I hate the Delta so much.
You what?
I hate the Delta.
Why do I hate Sam's piece of shit 1973 Delta 88? To the core of my being? Because he likes it too much. Something happened in the back. It was a bench seat in the back, that bench vinyl seat. What happened back there? What happened back there that was so memorable, he had to have that car in every one of his movies, including Quick and the Dead. That's a Western! Where was it in Quick and the Dead? He had it stripped down to its chassis and he put a covered wagon over the top of it. Darkman is hanging from a helicopter. He hits that car. It's Uncle Ben's car in Spider-Man. It's Billy Bob Thornton's car in A Simple Plan. What happened in the back of that scene? That guy got the Hummer of a lifetime or something. It's in Honest and Great and Powerful. It's in the tinker's shop, all broken down into parts that they sprayed bronze.
Oh my God.
It's in Doctor Strange. It's spinning in the air at one point, randomly. Sam goes, yeah, put the Delta in there. That's why I hate it, and that's why he has it in an undisclosed location with Dick Cheney. He does not want me to find that car. He knows I will actually try and kill it. Potato right up his ass. Sugar right in that tank. Screw you, buddy. That's the only reason. He shouldn't like a machine that much. Yes. Yes.
My father thinks
Hello, Dad. What about Dad?
My father thinks you look like Superman. At any point in your career, did you ever consider playing a superhero or Superman?
I like playing idiots better. I was in the Lois and Clark TV show. I played a bad guy. And honestly, I got to watch Dean Cain kind of struggle with a boring part. No, Lois, you don't see me and Clark Kent at the same time, do you? Meanwhile, I play a bad guy in the show. I've got speeches, and they're wonderful. And he goes, hold it right there. Playing the heroes, it can be Snoresville if they don't have faults. That's the problem with superheroes. Batman versus Superman. In my opinion, one of the stupidest concepts ever. Superman gets his hands on Batman. His neck is snapped. I'm sorry. Credits roll. You don't get to throw each other through buildings 8, 9, 10 times. No, stupid idea. Talk to Ben Affleck how that suit felt too. Oh my God. Why do you think there were 18 Batmans? Because each one's like, fuck that, I'm done with that shit. Woo! Can't even take a leak for 15 hours. No, I'm good, man. Sure, right there. Oh, I already did you. This young man. Right there, yeah.
I wanted to ask, what is the plan with another Spider-Man everyone's rumored about?
The plan with another Spider-Man, that it was going to be Spider-Man 4 and I was going to play Mysterio. Conversation never happened with me and Sam. It's internet bullshit. They found a storyboard.
Yeah.
They kind of look like me.
Kinda.
That's the whole story. There's nothing to it. Yes, right there.
Do you still hate Crime Wave?
Do I hate Crime Wave? I don't think I ever really hated Crime Wave.
The audience.
There's nothing to hate about a movie that nobody saw. I mean, that movie wasn't released, it escaped. It was the reason why Evil Dead 2 got made. Because that movie came out with Evil Dead, people faded. We thought, let's make a movie where the lead guy is dancing and singing, it's romance, it's action, it's fun, a little musical number. No blood, no blood. That thing was released in Alaska and Kansas, only to meet an HBO minimum purchase requirement. That thing died, it dropped like a stone, and it really did. Very weird, confused movie. It's sort of like Brazil, the movie Brazil. It's good in small increments. As a whole, it's a little annoying. So I don't hate that movie because it taught us so many lessons, but because the movie failed, Sam one day goes, you know, maybe Ash didn't die at the end of Evil Dead 1. And we got back into the film business. And most people don't know this, but Stephen King helped us on Evil Dead 2 also. We go to make Evil Dead 2 because our second movie bombed. We hired this woman to do scheduling and stuff, and finally we had to let her go because we couldn't raise the money. She goes to Wilmington, North Carolina to work on a movie called Maximum Overdrive for Dino De Laurentiis, directed by Stephen King. So she gets on the crew. And they're talking, hey, what are you up to? Oh, I was working on this Evil Dead 2 thing, but they couldn't get the money. Stephen King goes, he couldn't get the money. He calls Dino, you should make this movie. Click. We had a deal in like 2 weeks. It was the easiest movie we ever made. Easy, yeah. So sometimes they're easy. So yeah, we'll do a couple more on them. Yeah.
What's the hardest take you've ever had to get?
The hardest what? Take? Scene. Sam is very exacting. And we had a scene that got cut out of Army of Darkness. Ash is in a cabin, and he's in an old windmill alone. And he hears all these noises, and so there's 12 marks on the floor that we have to hit, that I have to hit. Very specific. And if you don't hit those marks, they can be out of focus. And if you're out of focus, you can't use it. It's that critical. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job swinging around, hitting all the marks. It was a big, big pain in the ass. Ends up in an extreme close-up of my ear at the very end, which is the most critical focus ever. And cut. Sam goes, good, we finally got it. I look over at Hamid, he was the focus puller,
Right.
drenched in sweat. He's trembling. He goes, I've had to use everything I've ever learned on any movie on this one goddamn movie. So as hard as he was on me, the crew they would do anything for Sam because he's challenging. And when you rise to the challenge, you really bring good stuff out. We had another process called intravision, which existed for maybe 2 years for a reason, because it sucked as a process. It was I'll try and make it simple. It was a front projection system to a silver screen, and you don't see it, you can only see it through the lens. So you're matting things together through the camera at that time. It's a weird process. So the background has to be filmed in advance. And so Ash is fighting skeletons at the end of this movie. And in order to do that, everything had to be done by numbers because we had to be in a certain position at a certain time because that background action was happening. So it would be something like, and they used this camera that was incredibly loud because it was a special registration camera. So it's going, and the guy is going 34, 35, 36, 37. You're literally acting by numbers. So this is 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. I'm like, good Christ almighty. And when you put it together, it's cool. So you talk about a take, it was just a big fat pain in the ass. That was it. We had a scene where we failed poor Sam Raimi. He wanted a Fred Astaire sword fight. Up 3 flights of castle steps. Kicking guys over, flipping guys, and he goes, I wanted it in one Fred Astaire continuous basket.
Oh, God.
Right, the whole thing.
Oh, man.
We worked our asses off for like hours and hours and hours and hours, and Sam gave up. He goes, he takes a bullhorn. Well, obviously that's not gonna work. So now we're gonna break this scene up into 1,000 little pieces. He comes over with a sword to me. He goes, okay, Bruce, you're against this wall here. I'm gonna swing this sword and you're gonna duck. You think you could do that? And of course, he swings the sword, so it's ready and boom, So yeah, he broke it into 1,000 little pieces because he was pissed. That's okay. Yes.
What do you think about the new Evil Dead movie coming out?
Evil Dead Rise. I endorse it. I'm a producer. It's we're all over like a cheap suit. We don't just crank these out. Last one was 10 years ago. This is a good one. It's really good. Lee Cronin's, he's a weird Irish Catholic. He brings all that creepy shit into it. It's kind of like a Euro movie. Yes, back there. Yeah.
Is there any, I just want to float this out there. I want to see a prequel to Evil Dead, because there was a lot happening before I actually got there.
A prequel to Evil Dead?
Yeah.
Thanks for the idea. Appreciate it. All right, let's do a couple more, and then we'll get on to this ridiculous motion picture. Yeah, right here.
After this, what's next?
What's next? 22 cities. I get on the bus and we go to Cincinnati. Yeah.
Plot 2, what's next?
It's a prequel.
There's crap on the horizon. There is, but until it happens, it's not a whole lot, pointing out. Yes, right here.
I want to know, was it originally shot with shopping carts with the original Evil Dead?
The Evil Dead was shot in the shopping carts, meaning put the camera in the shopping carts. Many times the camera was taped to Sam's hand.
Really?
The opening shot of Evil Dead is in a raft. I'm pushing Sam, I'm wearing fishing waders, pushing him in a raft, and he's leaning over the swamp like this.
Wow. That's awesome.
And while we're doing it, it's May in Michigan where the mosquitoes will pick you up and take you away. And we've been pushing through the swamp. My arms are all kind of scratched up. And a flotilla of mosquitoes go just lined up. Right, this whole scrape had like 50 of these little fuckers on my arm. And they're pumping me dry. And I can't stop and hit them. I'm trying to push the stupid thing across the swamp. I don't know how we got there either. But yeah, right here. Yeah.
What's your opinion on the Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness topic?
Marvel Zombies versus Army of Darkness. We're not really dynamite guys.
Yeah.
Some subcontractors are better to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
They steal images and they're not real team players. So that's probably, I should probably leave it there. Maybe the last question
Me?
from Ashetta.
Yeah, of course. So
More women are playing Ash, by the way. I have no problem with that. For some reason, though, they a lot of them have like torn clothing and little short shorts, and they do these photo shoots out in the woods. I'm like, what's happening here? But anyway, sure. Hi.
Yeah, I'd rather not be objectified.
No, of course.
So I am such a huge fan of comedy. I'm actually studying dramatic writing and film and TV at Savannah College of Art and Design. And I kind of like study comedy like a science. And I'm just very curious about...
Really studying comedy like a science.
Yeah, I just think it's fascinating. And I was just curious about your own sort of journey with comedy and how that sort of genre has influenced you, not only as an actor, but also just as a person in general.
I like comedy because it makes you feel good. Mm-hmm. It's that simple. We tried to inject comedy into our movies right from the start. First Evil Dead is pretty grim because we were afraid that we weren't that sophisticated as filmmakers. We thought, let's do a horror movie. You know, if you want to get into the business, make a cheap movie. It's a horror movie.
Yeah.
So we made it kind of horrible because we thought, well, that's not no holds barred. That's not. It shouldn't stand. It should stand out from the other movies. Mm-hmm. Evil Dead 2 was co-written by a guy named Scott Spiegel, who was a massive Three Stooges fan. So we were always 4 o'clock school, tapioca pudding, Three Stooges after high school. We were such big fans, we called Larry, the one with the frizzy hair, we called him in the old actors' home to talk to him. We had to figure out the time difference between Michigan and California. We knew the name of his nurse, Mrs. Ross. Catch him about 11 o'clock in the morning, you could get him. So we were huge fans of that. I love all kinds, really all comedy.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with it. So I will very often, I just rejected a project because it was too grim. And I know it's weird coming from me, the guy who stuck his head up a cadaver's butt in Nashville's Evil Dead. But I do draw the lines somewhere. So on that happy note, I do want to thank you all for coming. You put my kids through college that they dropped out of, but it matters, you know. I'm here because you're here. I wouldn't be here if you weren't here. Next generation of Evil Dead fans is out there now. Maybe the third one is coming pretty soon because it's been 40 some odd years now. So you people are kind of getting a little long in the tooth there. So, but thanks for coming. It means a lot that you allow us to do what we love to do. And there's nothing better than that. And so we're very grateful. Thank you very much.